Welcome to the Sherri Johnson Show, the podcast for real estate agents who are ready to stop chasing their next deal and start building a business that provides predictable and consistent monthly income to even double or even triple your income and sales production in less than a year. I'm Sherri Johnson, international real estate coach, speaker, consultant, and the creator of the exclusive Goldmine Pipeline strategy that's helped thousands of agents add over 6 figures to even 7 figures to their bottom line. If you're ready to generate more leads, crush your income goals, and finally play the long game, you're in the right place. Let's dig in. Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Sherri Johnson podcast show. I'm Sherri Johnson. This is an exciting day. We've got Michael Collier in the house. Hey, Michael, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. And thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the time. And I think we just spent some time in New York together, got to know each other better. And I'm excited because I think you have a message that I really want my listeners and audience to hear, because it's one that is so real, so authentic. I've gotten to hear you talk a few times now, actually. I met you in Cabo, saw you again in New York. You are in Orlando, Florida, one of the best places on earth. I love it. You have a background working at Disney World. This is like, we want to hear about that. You have 2 amazing kids, your wife, your family, an EXP business that's thriving and growing, and you have a model of attraction. We're going to talk about a lot today. And then I also want to hear about, before we hang up, about your new upcoming podcast we'll tell everybody about as well. So, Michael, tell everyone just a little bit about how you got into real estate, what you did before. I know you had an unbelievable 12-year career at Disney, and I love hearing about Disney. It's one of my favorite places. So take us down that journey.
It's the most magical place on earth. How could you not love it? Right? I didn't grow up a Disney kid. My wife did. My wife knew all of them, the Mouseketeers. She knew everybody in the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. She knows all the songs. So she's all about it. I, on the other hand, did not grow up a Disney kid, but it was in college that I found out about the Disney College Program, which is a 6-month internship that Disney allows you to do. And you can come down, you do this internship, and you get Disney on your resume, and then you can go back and maybe get hired at some Fortune 100 company or whatever, and they can get blown away by the fact that you worked at Disney. And I thought that's what I was going to do. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised. I came down here, and I thought it was going to be a 6-month internship, and here we are. 22 years later, my mom's still waiting for me to come back home. I just never left. So it got good to me. The college program was amazing. I got a chance to do a few things while I worked at Disney. So I was at Disney for 12 years. College program was only 6 months. Soon after the college program, they promoted me to a management intern. So I was working at Disney's Contemporary Resort, which is one of the deluxe resorts, the one where the monorail goes through it across from Magic Kingdom. So I worked there as a resort, as a concierge manager. And it was from there that I auditioned to become a Walt Disney World Ambassador and got selected to be a Walt Disney World Ambassador. So that was really cool. For those of you guys who don't know what a Disney Ambassador is, a Disney Ambassador is kind of the spokesperson for Walt Disney World. And actually there's 2 that are selected every 2 years at each of the parks around the world, right? And this actually started with Walt Disney himself. He selected the very first Disney ambassador out at Disneyland. And this is a tradition, a heritage that he created and is still going to today. So all the way back in 2006, I was selected to be a Walt Disney World ambassador.
And 2 people only selected.
2 people.
Out of hundreds or thousands even.
Yeah. I mean, at the time we had 65,000 cast members working at Walt Disney World.
Wow, what a fantastic. So what did you get to do? What an honor.
You're a global spokesperson. So you represent the company to cast members, and you represent cast members in the community. And so whenever we are doing things like, if there's a new attraction that opens up, we're typically the ones that are there on behalf of the cast members, welcoming the media and doing things from stage. And then we might even introduce the president of Walt Disney World to the stage, or, something like that. And some ambassadors get a chance to travel depending on what's going on. I didn't get a chance to travel much, but I did get a chance to open Expedition Everest at Disney's Animal Kingdom Park, which was phenomenal.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I can't even, did your wife work there too?
She didn't. She works there now.
Okay. I knew there was a connection. Okay.
Yes.
She didn't work there then. Okay.
So funny story. My wife and I actually met way before I ever came to Disney, to Orlando. We actually met in the 8th grade. So I met my wife in middle school. So now you see why I'm a little nervous that my daughter just started middle school this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. You guys met in Georgia, in Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
Wow. Where'd you grow up in Atlanta?
Stone Mountain.
Oh my gosh. That is awesome. So
we weren't middle school sweethearts, high school sweethearts, or anything like that. Life just kept us close together, and I stayed in touch with her as she moved to Chicago. I moved to Orlando, and I ended up after I was a Disney ambassador, I ended up working for Disney Vacation Club, selling Disney Vacation Club, so Disney's version of timeshare. And I was selling Disney Vacation Club on board the Disney cruise ships. So I was traveling all over the world, selling timeshare on the ship, right? Single, even
That's
better.
Awesome. I did the Disney Dream with my kids.
Good.
Yes, you're probably there. That was amazing, that trip. That was the first and only cruise I've been on, and we loved it. 2016, I think it was, on the Dream, Castaway Cay.
Yep.
I actually took first place in my age group at the race.
Castaway 5K.
I did the 5K.
You're smoking those folks out there who never ran before. You're like, get out of my way, lady.
Oh my gosh, it was so hot, and it was so crazy because I would run on the deck of the ship, and wow. So I knew a little bit about this. You told me. So
yeah.
So you're selling the vacation club. Is that how did you get into real estate?
Yeah. So funny enough, you have to have, in order to sell Disney Vacation Club, which is deeded real estate, you have to have your real estate license. And so I always like to say Mickey Mouse paid for my real estate license because it was still
right.
While I was there. Took care of that while I was still there. And then I just parlayed that into, after I left Disney in 2016, I started doing real estate investing. So I was flipping homes and selling them. I was doing some wholesaling. I was doing some hard money lending and all kinds of stuff, And it wasn't until 2019 that I began in general real estate. And that's when I came over to EXP and started my journey.
Okay. 2019. And you have an amazing philosophy about living a legacy versus leaving a legacy. And I would love for you to expound on that. It's just such a different way to view that one word, legacy, and whether it's future and after life sort of legacy type, which is when you hear that word, versus how you describe it, which I love because I just think it has such a great perspective that most people don't realize.
Yeah, I think we hear so much about legacy and generational wealth, and we think about all of these things that typically can take decades to acquire, right? We have this like strategic mindset of where we're going to be 15, 20 years, 30 years from now, and we're kind of trying to plot our way to that place. And so we're focused more on the destination versus the journey. And one thing that I've always been fascinated with is just being able to soak in the moment that I'm in, as opposed to, there's sometimes we go through life and you go through these moments and then before you know it, you were anticipating this thing and maybe you were looking so forward to the result of the thing that when it's over, you're like, man, I wish I would have enjoyed the journey a little bit more. And that happened to me the first time I hit Icon at EXP. I became an Icon agent, and I was so set that year, I'm going to hit icon. The year before that, I had capped. And I'm like, all right, what's next after capping? Icon, right? Natural next step. And so I did all the things that I needed to do, and I hit it. And I got to tell you, Sherri, I felt, I don't know if empty is the word, but I felt like was that it? Like, I felt like there was supposed to be more. It was in that moment that I felt like as close as possible to what maybe a Super Bowl champion feels like. You practice so hard, you sacrifice so much, you're leaving your family, you're traveling all over the world, you're getting hit, things are getting broken or strained or sprained. And then you get through the playoffs and you make it through this big game, and your whole life, ever since you were a kid, you idolized this moment to take home that Lombardi trophy. And then you get it. And you celebrate big. And then you go to sleep, you wake up the next morning and you go, we're starting over, right? Like, it's time to start working towards the next one. And so the idea of living a legacy versus leaving a legacy is allowing us to make sure that we're turning our moments into the momentum, not just looking forward to the destination, but really focusing on the journey. And it takes a very strong intentionality to live day to day and making sure that you are being the person that you want your legacy to speak of later. Because sometimes on our journey to this destination of legacy, we compromise our integrity sometimes. We compromise our character. We do things or say things or take on certain opportunities that we wouldn't normally take on, but if it's going to get me there, then I'll do it. And, something that Tony Robbins says often, and I love this quote, he says, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure.
Oh, I've heard that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's so often that we acquire these things or these titles along the way. And if we're honest with ourselves, when we're alone, it can feel kind of empty. But living a legacy allows you to play full out in the moment, being fully present, fully aware every moment of the way. And then you turn those moments into momentum, and it makes it a life worth living.
I absolutely love it. And I love that you're saying the moments become the momentum, really, to the ultimate why. I know for me that my kids inspire me every single day, and I am in the moment, because you make a choice to do that now. And as I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, yeah, I was grinding it out, selling the houses, hitting the plateaus, getting the job titles. I often described that emptiness as like filling a God-sized hole with everything but God, whether it's material or just financial, not for wealth building of financial security, but more of the I did it because I said I was going to do it. You know what I mean? And then it's kind of like the book, by Tim Grover, like Done Next. Like, where's the fun? What was the purpose of what you just did that for? And we're just all wired so differently that a lot of times we miss the whole thing. And then you wake up, like you said, and it's just another day. And now what? What's the next thing? And so when you talk about like living that the intentionality of saying, you know what, I am not going to sacrifice anything. I don't have to sacrifice anything to still get there. You're more present. It is true. And it's definitely, when I coach people, they say, the whole year went by and I didn't take my kids on a vacation, or one of my favorite goals to set with agents and coaching is spend more time with the people you love. Like, what are you doing? Like, if we can't, if we're completely burnt out spiritually, mentally, physically, there's nothing left. And that just that's not good for anybody. Living a legacy versus leaving a legacy. I know everybody's like hearing that, and just, I hope you're thinking about how you can make shifts in your life to live the legacy every day in the moments, to turn that into momentum. That's my favorite part too, is the momentum.
That is something. I'll give you another example of how I'm doing that right now. I caught myself, and again, it's the intentionality. It's not being perfect. It's knowing that you're not going to get it right all the time, but it is being intentional about getting it right when you see that you're not getting it right. And so, for instance, one of the things that I try to get right is taking my wife out for date nights as often as possible. So I'm at date night with my wife, and she goes, the kids are about to start school year, and I need you to take Bryson to school. I'm going to be taking Bryson to school. She's going to be taking Bryson to school, but she needs me to take Brooklyn to school, which Brooklyn is in middle school.
Okay.
And I said, well, what time does school start? She goes, well, for Bryson, it starts at 8:30. For Brooklyn, it starts at 9:30. So you got to get her to school at 9:30. And I'm thinking,
the time
it's horrible. You know how much real estate is done between 7:30 to 9:30 in the morning? And I said, okay, all right, I'll figure that out. And in that instant, I felt convicted. I felt convicted because here I am thinking, I got to take her to school. And instead, it should be, I get to take her to school. I get to take her to school. I get to spend time with her every morning during some of the most pivotal years of her life as she's going through middle school. And all the stuff that comes along with middle school, especially for those of you guys who have girls out there. Okay. And so it changed for me, Sherri. And that was that moment where I was like, this is how I get to live the legacy. This is part of living the legacy and not being so much focused on leaving a legacy. And so it's those little intentional reminders where we change our words, we change our thoughts, we change our actions and our intentions, and it makes it a much more enjoyable and fulfilling life.
It's so true. I don't know if I've been sober in Alcoholics Anonymous for like 28 years. I had 17 years of sobriety. 2014, drank for like 2 months, and then I have 10 and a half years again now, continuous. But it is a get to, and every day is an opportunity to show that. And it is. First of all, it's a horrible time. I'm surprised any school starts that late, but that's the way it is. And you know what? Pretty soon, like my kids are going to be driving, they're going to be in college. You can be like, oh, I get to drive you to school every day during those days. And if you look at when people say I have to, or, we can catch them and say, hey, actually, like, a lot of people don't have that privilege. It is a moment to moment. You just hit it on the head. How am I living? Am I grateful? Gratitude is an action word, and it is to be lived in what you're doing every day. Every single day we have an opportunity to give back and give endlessly and throw ourselves in the welfare of other people, whether they're our family or not. And you do that. You do that all the time. I believe people could see, like, if you look at what is so needed, right? This like validation and just being together and living these moments, whether it's driving to school or eating dinner together or eating meals together or just being together, maybe without our phones, without, just like good old conversation. It surprises me how much people are craving for that. And those are the lucky ones who realize that now, because there's no replay button. You don't get to go back and get another chance at seeing your kids grow up. I think that's a great example. I want to hear about your growth in your EXP team. I'd also like to hear that you have these 5 different attractor types as you're building your EXP organization all over the country, not just in Orlando, Florida, but everywhere. How are you doing that? You've only been with the company about 2 years, and you're having tremendous success, and it's so great to watch. Tell us what some of that your secret strategies are, what you're doing that's working really well.
Yeah. So, I am a huge fan of community, building communities. And the way that I do that is really through adding value and, again, living that legacy, right? Being able to share whatever it is that I know that I can impart, to whether they're newer agents or seasoned agents. I do a mastermind twice a week with my group, and quite honestly, Sherri, this group is open to realtors of all types, regardless of brokerage, regardless of tenure, whatever. But we do this every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern. And I open this up. It's called the Dream Builders Mastermind, and this is where we talk about every call starts with prayer. And so I start out with prayer. I pray over our business and our groups and our families, and and then we go into the segment that I call blessings. And the reason why we go into blessings is because, again, you hit the nail on the head. Gratitude is a verb. And so we start out our calls with gratitude and sharing what we're grateful for. And those blessings can be personal or they can be business. It might be you celebrating your daughter's 5th birthday, but it could be you getting a new buyer under contract or a new listing or whatever it is. And so we celebrate these things together. And what we find is that there's lessons in the blessings. And so if you just got a new listing, not only do we want to celebrate that listing, but we want to know how you got that listing, right? And we want to know what your marketing strategy is for that listing. Are you doing something different with that one than you're doing with others, right? And so there's people who are learning on the calls, who are listening in, but then there's also people who might be able to give some advice on, have you considered this? Have you considered that? And so as people begin to share their blessings, we extrapolate lessons out of those blessings. And it turns into these calls are, sometimes we have people just sharing their heart, man, and crying and realizing like this is what they've been looking for. I truly believe that agents are typically looking for kind of 5 things, regardless of where they go. I believe agents are looking for leads, right? Some consistent way of doing business. They're looking for training. They're looking for support. They're looking for community. And normally I would stop there, but there's a silent one that a lot of people don't really consider until they're in the wrong place and they realize it. And that 5th one is culture. The culture of where you are. You could be around a lot of top performers who, open their playbook, share their playbooks, and they have the masterminds and all that stuff. But there's a toxic culture. There's something there that just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel genuine. And when that authenticity is missing, there's a misalignment that you begin to feel over time.
No, I completely agree. I think culture is a reason people are attracted to companies. All of the other things, obviously, they need as well. It is, how do you describe your culture to people when you're talking to them about joining you?
Yeah, I'd rather invite you to the party than tell you how the party was.
Yes.
Right? Like, I want you to come see it, not because I want you to be, not because I'm trying to recruit you. But again, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. What good is it for you to be selling, 100 homes, 300 homes, 1,000 homes a year and feeling like you're just kind of running in circles and you're feeling like you're just kind of by yourself or you don't really have anybody to celebrate your wins with you? Yeah, you got the people who are just kind of celebrating you from a performative state. But what if somebody just truly appreciates who you are and they really want to see you win? And every time you win, they win. And that's what I love about the culture that we have. When I win, you win, but when you win, I win. And so we win together. I'm going to champion your wins. I'm going to shout your wins from the rooftop. I'm going to put you on my podcast. You're going to put me on your podcast. Why? Because we're not competitors. We're collaborating. Right. Yeah, there's a different spirit of, I don't know, it's just a different spirit of working. There's a different spirit of I don't know, just this connectivity, this sense of connectivity. It allows you to be your full self. It allows you to show up as your full self. And that is something that I think most people are missing. I grew up with my mom telling me all the time. A lot of times people say, well, what is your why? What's your why? We always kind of go back to, when you say your why, a lot of times when people ask you your why, or if you ask somebody their why, they're often going to state their kids. My kids are my why. My family is my why. And I always say, well, I believe that that's your who. That's not your why, though.
I like that.
Right? Your who is who you're doing it for. Your why is something that drives you. Maybe it was something from childhood. Usually it's something in your formative years that clicked, that maybe it's sitting in your subconscious and you brought to your conscious at some point along the way. But I can tell you, as I progress towards, what financial freedom looks like for me and time freedom looks like for me, I'm reminded of when I was a kid, and I'll never forget, every single day, my mom would come home and she would just be upset. Not like, throwing things around upset, but she just hated where she worked. She hated going to work. And Sherri, every Sunday, she mourned. Why? Because Monday was coming. She mourned because Monday was coming. And so she spent her whole Sundays kind of like, oh, I got to go to work tomorrow. Oh, yeah, And I'm like, man, is that what having a job is like? I'm like, I don't want that.
I know. The collaboration, the camaraderie, it is a way different environment than anything I've seen in 29 years of being in real estate. And when you describe it as such, there is zero competition. It is like family. Everybody is genuinely excited about the other person winning. When one wins, everybody wins. And that's just, thank goodness, that is what permeates at EXP. All right. So, culture is the most important thing. I often tell people you have to have a culture first and production follows culture. It's not the other way around. And people don't get that. They try to force culture on people and it doesn't work. So when I tell you, after 29 years of being at Fabulous Models, I absolutely loved the company that I grew up in. I loved it so much. I became, an executive there. I loved it. I loved every day. I loved it. And I loved it. And then I wanted to, do coaching and consulting. And then you look at these companies though. And now when I go to an EXP event, Michael, and I see there's the spirit of collaboration I've never seen before in 29 years. And it only exists here. It is like a unique thing that there's no competition. And there's a feeling of just mutual caring and giving till you can't give anymore. And then people still keep giving. It's so amazing. And there's no competition. It's only, what can I do for you? How can I help you? What do you need? I'll give it to you. And let's do it together. And I love that about this company. It is really unique. The 5 different attractor types. Tell us about those and how you use those.
Yeah. So this is something that, very similar to the DISC personality profile or personality assessment. There are some unique ways that we can identify with and lean into that we naturally resonate with on how we attract according to who we are, right? Just who we are. And so for instance, you have the producer, the promoter, the connector, the coach, the influencer, right? And so when you look at these, it's like, all right, well, what do these actually mean? And I'll kind of, so with the producer, your results speak for themselves. You use your success to inspire and attract others who want to achieve greatness. And so this is that agent who is using their sales production to attract, because let's be honest, sales production is sexy, right? When somebody's doing 20 million, 50 million, $100 million, that makes things more exciting, right? And you realize that might be somebody that you can learn from. But then you also have the promoter. The promoter is skilled at creating excitement and persuading people to attend events. They leverage their network and communication to draw in crowds. I have a little bit of that naturally in me, man. I love events. I gain energy from people, right? Put me in events and put me around 100 people and I'm walking out with 99 friends because there's always at least one hater, so you can't win everybody. But right. I love people and I love the energy that comes from events, especially when that light bulb is going off and you see collaboration at work. And then you have the influencer. The influencer is someone who excels at creating and nurturing growth. They use their skills to build relationships and bring others into their vision. So that's that true influencer type. And there are some people who are that. Maybe for them, it's not so much the production, but it is more of the influencer side of things. And the next one is coach. You empower others to reach their potential. They use their guidance to inspire and attract those seeking support. And obviously that's you to a T, right? You're able to coach people and people, that people are looking for that. Like I just talked about, those leads, the trainings, the support, right? And you show people, hey, you don't even need to buy leads. You got leads right there in your phone book right now. And you show them how to make hundreds of thousands of dollars off of what they already have and what they bring inside of them. And that's powerful. So leaning more into that is important when agents are able to recognize who they are. And then this last one is the connector. And I identify with this probably more than the others. The connector is someone who excels at building relationships and bringing people together. They use their networking skills to attract and inspire others. And so I thrive in communities. I'm always building communities. My community of agents is called Dream Builders. And so people who are attracted to the whole idea behind Dream Builders are people who aren't afraid to dream. I always say dream builders, dream bigger. And the idea is that there's no cap or limitation set on our mindset or on our dreams. And so we're working to build our dreams, but we're also working to help build the dreams of our clients and the other agents who have a dream, and showing them that there's people who are willing to rally around them and support them and help build the platform to allow their rocket ship to take off to reach their dreams. And so when you recognize which of those just naturally sits with you, then it's easier to now say, okay, well, I'm not trying to push anything on anyone. I'm just leaning into who I am. And as I build out these communities, like Dream Builders, and other communities that I have, I started a virtual assistant placement company recently, and I help top performing agents and business owners get virtual assistants for their business. And I have 3 in my business, and I can tell you that I could definitely even use more. But I have an SEO manager, I have a social media manager, and I have a full-time video editor. So I'm not sitting behind, when I shoot video, I'm not sitting behind my phone for the next 2 hours, cutting up a nice little Instagram reel to finally put it up. Most agents still have photos and videos that have been sitting in their phone for years and they never touched it. Meanwhile, they're holding back on the things that they want to share with the world, but the little technical stuff, the admin stuff, is what's holding them back. They're throttling their own success. And so I've decided to help people get out of their own friggin' way and help them get a virtual assistant.
Yes. I want to hear more about that. I actually, the connector you are, that is exactly you. I've not known you very long, but I would note that. I also think, coaching is funny. It's I always say coaching isn't making people great. It's bringing out the greatness they already have. They just don't know how to tap into that. It's like that great coach you had in sports and 7th or 8th grade or 10th grade or senior year, whatever it could be now, right? Anybody who I still go to my coach for tennis, and it's, he is literally, with love, making me better on the tennis court. I mean, it is just the way that it goes. And so running coaches, financial planners, all these people help people, the promoter, the producer, all that, and the influencer. And, you think about how you can really change somebody's life by helping them achieve their goals. I just believe that inherently your goals will be achieved. And it's given without expectations and giving with just 100% zero expectation. And it just all comes together. I love it. I think that people need to hear this message and need to realize that, how's the phrase, like, you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together. Is that Brent says it all the time? And I don't know where he got it. Probably somebody.
It's an African proverb. Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even better. So, we have so many ways to help each other, and we're doing that. And what I love too is all the community, the giving and the charitable donations that I see the leaders in EXP doing for those less fortunate, just because they can and because that's part of the passion of what we're doing. So it's been awesome having you. I want to add before we end, you've got a podcast coming up. Can you tell us about it? I know it's launching very soon.
Yes.
Tell us about it and tell us what you're going to be covering, because I love the topic.
Yes. So my podcast is launching next month in September 2025, and it is called the Leverage Lounge Podcast. So the Leverage Lounge Podcast is where we're going to be talking to high-performing business owners, real estate entrepreneurs, and people who also even run large organizations, whether they're nonprofit organizations, whatever, and talking about how they use leveraging people, tools, resources, systems, tech, AI. How are they using leverage to scale their business? The truth of the matter is, Sherri, you know this, but most small businesses remain small because they don't know how to scale. They think they know how to scale. And so they think by adding another franchise or adding another building or taking on more expenses or taking on more people allows them to get to the money that they want to make and get to the level of success that they want to make. But many of them ended up crashing and burning, right? It's like 97% of small businesses fail.
Oh my gosh. I just read that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. 97%. Like, why is that? Why is that percentage so high when we know that America runs on small businesses? How is that even possible? Like, that doesn't sound like it's equitable at all. And so but the equity lies in understanding what leverage and scaling looks like. And so when I'm talking to these business owners, I'm not going to just be talking about the success that they have, but I really want to get to the how. How did you begin leveraging? How did you begin scaling success? When you started with 1, how did you get to 5? One of the people that I'm going to have on is a business owner who actually owns 5 McDonald's franchises, right? And one of those franchises is inside of the Atlanta airport, right? So like, how do you go from owning a McDonald's on the corner to owning a McDonald's in the Atlanta airport? Like, what did you have to leverage? What relationships and like, what did you have to do to get there? Because that allows us to dream a little bit more. Because let's face it, man, people go through hard times and life is always lifing. And so when we're able to let people see that they're seen, I'm going to be learning through this podcast on how to scale a business, but I'm also going to be extracting information to give to my audience. And the truth of the matter is, the people that I have on, and I'm going to have you on there, Sherri Johnson. But the people that I have on this podcast, I also want to be avid listeners of the podcast. I want to bring so much value that it's a podcast that you want to listen to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And leverage is so amazing. People need to have examples of it. People need to, they took the risk to start a business. Let's help them get to that next level. What I know this maybe is Tony Robbins, but what got you to here isn't going to get you to there. And so people, we get stuck. I've been stuck. I've had, moments of clarity where I'm just like, why did I thin myself out? And I didn't scale over here when I could have. It's going to be a great podcast. I can't wait to listen to it. I can't wait to be on the show as well. That's huge. course, I'll do that. I'm reading the book 10X is Easier Than 2X for the second time. I read it a while ago, and I don't know that I'm reading it now, and I feel like I'm actually getting. And these are the types of concepts you're going to be sharing with people, whether you're in real estate or not. It's going to be a podcast to listen to, and I can't wait. That's going to be great. And so, Dream Builders, you can catch that. You can join. How can people follow you on Instagram? I know we're going to post these in.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to follow what I'm doing. Follow me on Instagram, the Mike Collier. So THE Mike Collier on Instagram, and really on all platforms. You can follow me there and just keep up with what I'm doing. I'm really excited about some of the growth that we'll have. I'm planning on, at least doubling my revenue share group within the next 12 months. And so, and I believe that I can actually do it in sooner time than that. And so I'm really looking forward to inviting people to the party, because when you know that the party is lit, you want to get as many people there as possible. And I've seen what happens when little small fires come together to create one big fire. And that's what I want to be.
That's right. I hear you. And I'm right there with you, and I'm doing the same thing. And I think we're going to have you back on the show. If you'll come back, I'd love to have you again. Everybody follow Mike, follow his team, join his Dream Builders Mastermind. He's got great content on social media, great videos. I love all your stuff. And if you're in Orlando, look him up. I know he'll meet you for a cup of coffee. He's kind of a guy. And, one thing we didn't talk about was when I met you, you received the Rick Jiha Award, which, that is like the app. So there it is. And I will tell you that story, while I know we got to cut today, but I want to tell you that what a telling story of the man and person and human being you are, because that story is just one of my faves. And I know it had to do with a client that you helped and who was financially hardship. And, that's what it's about. So you're out there doing it. I'm so happy we have connected and that we're in each other's lives. I cannot wait to meet your family and your kids and go to Disney. So come back to the show. I'll be speaking with your team at a mastermind upcoming soon. Can't wait to have you on again. I can't wait to see you next month. Michael, thank you for everything, your friendship, your gifts, and what you're doing for our community and our industry. It's amazing. So thanks again. Thanks for tuning in to the Sherri Johnson Show. If today's episode gave you a breakthrough or an aha moment, please take action. And don't forget, you can grab your free download of the Sherri Johnson Goldmine Pipeline in the link below and start seeing results right away. Want even more personalized support? Book a free strategy call with our team, or check out our coaching program starting at just $49 a month at sherrijohnson.com. Remember, it takes 5 contacts to get a yes, but with the right strategy, you can get there faster. Let's turn your potential into profits. I'm Sherri Johnson, and I'll see you next week.